All right, welcome back, everybody. Saturday night. We'll see who ends up joining us a little later. Please take a moment and read the disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am not your financial advisor. Please take a moment, pause, read this. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Everything I say is my own personal opinion. Do not make any decisions around this. Please do your own due diligence. And now that you have read that, we'll stop sharing. And we have changed cameras. Is it any better? Looking in the chat to see if anybody, there's some people that were definitely here for the earlier stream. This is a different camera. I think it is much better. What does everybody think? Yes, no, impartial, good, okay. All right, so we changed the stream to a different setting. We changed the camera. All right. All right, sounds good. Appreciate it. I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm definitely not thinner. Definitely did not lose any weight in the past couple of hours, although I probably should have. Probably should have worked out instead of writing another article. That'll maybe be a tomorrow thing. What camera did I get? In all seriousness, I had every intention of going to the store, but I figured Tanner's probably correct, and I'm probably just doing something wrong with the camera that I bought based off of his recommendation. And I reinstalled everything and messed around with the settings and did a mock 5-minute stream before and felt the camera was pretty good. So I will keep this one for now. And if people start complaining, I will then go get another one. All right. So, yes, wrote another article. We did an article on Cisco yesterday, which should be out Monday. And I got an article done today on Microsoft. I am hoping that the Microsoft article is done on or out on Tuesday. So we will see. So let's get this started. We're going to start with the Fed, then we're going to roll into what I think is going to happen year end. We'll discuss Netflix and Warner Brothers. I've had a little bit more time to think about this. I said I was going to make a tinfoil hat. I didn't. I should have. We're going to go through SOFI Dilution and also some themes for 2026 and the winners and losers, I think, in big tech and where I am currently looking. So I'm going to try to do timestamps for everybody. We'll see what happens. All right. So the Fed. So we got the big macro event this week coming up on the 9th and 10th. According to CME Group, and I am getting quicker at the changes, we got an 86.2% chance that they're going to cut. 13.8% chance that they leave rates the same. So, quarter point, depending on which prediction market or tool you're looking at. I use CME Group still. I'm not using Polymarket. I'll probably always use CME Group, but they're probably around the same if I had to guess. So the Fed's currently divided. We've had several Fed members come out and discuss their dovishness. Some have come out and discussed why they think we should hold. So it's getting interesting. On the inflation side, we had a September CPI report, and it was the last full CPI report due to the shutdown. The last CPI report showed headline inflation running around 3% year over year, with core around 3% also. Month over month, prices are up 0.3%. It's sticky. It's not a runaway cycle, but it's definitely sticky. So we all know the Fed's preferred measure is PCE, tells a similar story. Delayed September PCE report dropped this week, and it showed that overall PCE inflation at 2.8% year over year, up from 2.7%. So we'll see. I think I have a feeling what Powell's going to say, but, maybe we get a surprise. Forward-looking trackers like the Cleveland Fed nowcast shows inflation hovering around 3% year-over-year basis, and ISM manufacturing PMI fell in November to 48.2, which is in contraction territory. The manufacturing employment subindex also slid to 44. Services, which are about 70% of the economy, are still expanding but cooling. The ISM services PMI printed 52.6 for November. So just so everybody knows, I take a lot of notes, and the site that I use for my economic indicators is Trading Economics. So I'll show everybody the site here. It's actually phenomenal if you are an economy buff or you just want everything in one place. You can just click indicators, and it gives you everything. It gives you absolutely everything. So it's a great tool. I really like it. So when we look at what the Fed governors are saying, Governor Chris Waller came out with a speech the other day and really provided the case for continuing rate cuts. And he said that he worries restrictive monetary policy is weighing on lower and middle income households, and that the broad weakening in the labor market justifies another cut in December, which I agree wholeheartedly with. And I'll get into my opinion on that in a minute. You had New York Fed President John Williams, who is the vice chair of the FOMC, also indicated that he's a bit dovish. In late November, he said he was open to lowering the Fed funds rate at the December meeting to support the job market. I applaud this. I absolutely applaud this. I think that's the right move. And after these comments, the prediction markets and CME group really started moving, because there was a point where we were only 35% for the Fed cut in December, which is this week. Now, you still have some Fed chairs, such as Philip Jefferson and other regional presidents, warning against moving too fast. And he has indicated that the Fed should proceed slowly with any further easing so they don't lose the inflation fight, which I think is so short-sighted. It's unbelievable. These guys need to get their act together. And look, we all know where Powell is. He's trying to play down the middle, but he's really hawkish, not dovish. And he has said that a rate cut in December is a foregone conclusion. He's not saying it's going to happen or it is going to happen. So this is where I'm at on this. If we get a rate cut, I think we are going to get a Santa Claus rally, and I think that we are going to have a very good end of year. If we do not get a rate cut, I really think that we're going to slip, and we could see 6250 on the S&P by the end of the year. I really do. So I think we're in a big range, as low as 6250, and we could see 7,000 plus. I know that some investment houses are calling for 7,200, 7,300. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the commentary is. But I think 7,000 is still a good number for the year-end rally. And I do think it'll happen if they cut. Now, where I'm agreeing with Waller and Williams is that 2% or 3% on inflation doesn't freaking matter, because whether it's $102 or $103 next year, that $1 is not stopping any purchases. If we were at 15, 20%, completely different story. But we are at a point where we are seeing more and more large companies cut jobs. Verizon just came out, 15,000 cuts. Meta just cut jobs. I believe Microsoft cut jobs. There's a lot of companies cutting jobs. We need to make sure that we have an inclusive environment in the labor market so unemployment doesn't keep going up. And while people do not believe 4.4% is a problem on the labor market for unemployment, it is, because we were as low as 3.4%. Moving a full percentage point up has always been an indicator that we're in or a recession is forming. With the advancements in technology, we're certainly going to gain productivity, but that could come at the expense of jobs. And we really don't know. I don't know, and nobody else knows what the future holds. But the prediction that I have, and this is a speculation / prediction, is that a lot of companies are going to increase productivity through robotics and AI to the point where they are able to expand margin and lay people off. Here's why. A lot of jobs in warehouses or jobs that have high rates of workman's comp claims, those are the ones that I think are really going to be at risk, because if you have people that are consistently lifting boxes and moving things around and they have a high slip and fall rate or a high strain rate on workman's comp, that becomes very expensive on the corporate end. If you automate those processes and you get rid of those claims, it can save a corporation a tremendous amount of money. And we just don't know where robotics and AI is going to go. So I truly believe that we need rates around 2.5% for several reasons. And the Fed should continue to cut after this round. At 2.5%, you create an environment where businesses are able to borrow at a healthy rate. The housing market will become a little bit less unlocked. We're in a very weird housing market because rates have never been where they were, or I shouldn't say never, but they haven't been where they were for a very long time. And a lot of people took advantage of it. People sitting on a 2.8 or 3 or 3.2% mortgage, that's probably not happening in a very long time. Those people are stuck. Those people are not leaving unless they're forced to for some unforeseen reason. Whether they decide to retire and move, or they switch jobs and need to move. But most likely, if you have a mortgage at that rate, you're not leaving. And when you don't have a lot of activity in the home market, you have likely less construction jobs, less home improvements. And when rates are still restrictive, people are not borrowing to put a new roof on. They're holding off and tightening the belt in some cases. We need a less restrictive market because the combination of unlocking the housing market and projects on an adjacent view, in addition to creating an environment where entrepreneurs and small businesses can borrow to expand their businesses, that will all create jobs, and that will help unemployment, and that will help earnings expand. That will create more GDP, more people with jobs, more people getting a paycheck, more people spending money in the economy. Especially more jobs going on, more people spending in the economy. So to me, it is vital that we get a rate cut. And we also have to remember we are going to get a new Fed chair. That cannot come soon enough. Powell has been too slow. They've been too restrictive. And even if the Fed doesn't cut the first couple of meetings or cuts again in January and then holds off till they get a new Fed chair, the second half of 2026 is probably going to look pretty good for cuts. And I think that that is going to create a big backdrop for a year-end rally. And when I think about what it means for the market, we're already up 17% or so on the S&P year to date, over 20% on the NASDAQ, I believe. We're at 22% on the NASDAQ right now. And it's been a good year. It's been a very good year. And I think it can keep getting better. I mean, look, we got through a lot of things this year. We got through Liberation Day. And some people are saying, well, it's not 25%. It's not always going to be 25%. We're at 17% this year. And there's a big difference between being in an index fund and being in very high beta names. there's a lot of high beta names that are still up, but because of where they are and where they contracted to, people look at their accounts like, where's the rest of the money? Well, that's why they're high beta names. So comes down to positioning, FOMO, and other things. I think that there are plenty of underinvested institutions, in addition to retail investors who missed the move. We know that there's between 7 and 8 trillion on the sidelines. If we look at Fred, let's see where the money markets are. So Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, in case anybody is wondering what Fred stands for. So we got 7.5 trillion sitting in money markets. This does not include CDs. This does not include bonds. This is just money market accounts. So yes, we got a big increase since 2022 of around 2.4 trillion when the Fed started hiking rates. Is all that coming back into the market? I have no idea. Nobody, if anybody says they know, they're full of shit. Okay. I have no idea, just like the next person has no idea. What I'm willing to speculate on is as the Fed continues to reduce rates, the risk-free rate of return will no longer look as lucrative as it once was. When that happens, people will start to think about, why am I in the sidelines? Do I really want all this cash? Or was I in it because I was manufacturing yield? Now, look, a lot of people, including myself, have cash. But there's a difference between having cash and utilizing cash to generate income. At 5%, it became very lucrative for people with lots of cash to not take on any risk. I think we can all agree on that. Now, you get rates down to 3%. That's not nearly as lucrative as it was at 5.5, or even where we are now around 4.25. Or where is money market accounts right now? Let's see where the rates are. Best rates up to 4.25%. So right around where I said on the high end. So I think you're going to have a lot of people coming back in. And I think that capital is not necessarily going to get earmarked toward big tech or growth, high beta names. I think that is not scared money, but it's capital that's utilized for different purposes. And that type of capital is going to be looking for income. And I think it'll go into funds such as SCHD that we talked about earlier, probably some very well-known high-end equities such as Verizon, Realty Income, maybe Altria Group. But I would not be surprised if we see 1 to 2 trillion move from money markets back into the market over the course of 2026 if rates get under 3%. I would not be surprised at all, because why sit in a money market when you can allocate capital, Realty Income, get a monthly dividend, get a 5.5% yield, and get an increase every quarter on the dividend? So that's where I'm at with the money on the sidelines. So I do think that the lower rate environment will create an opportunity for people to reposition themselves for 2026. We had a really good earnings season, and I think that people are going to, or companies are going to really go crazy with the buybacks in Q4. So we'll see what happens. And look, I don't want to paint any of this that there's no risk out there. There's obviously risk out there. You got the credit markets. You have a Fed that we don't know what's going to happen. And the market's already pricing in a rate cut. If we don't get a rate cut, we are probably going to see sentiment turn quickly. And I think that will take us down to 62.50. So I'm not by any means saying that this is risk-free, this is going to happen. One of the first things I said is we have a big band, and I think the band is 6,250 to 7,000. So this is one of the most important, if not the most important, Fed meeting, and I cannot wait to see the notes out of it and see Powell's speech. I'm going to take a guess. It's going to be a very hawkish cut, more hawkish than it was previously. So I think they cut. I think we get a year-end rally, and I think people are waiting just to see what happens with the Fed, because even after the meeting, you still got 2.5 weeks of this year, and it's more about positioning for next year. Because you get through this, you know that the new Fed chair is coming in, you know that they're going to be very pro lower rates, and it's just power in numbers. You're going to have a different sentiment on the Fed, and we could see rates get down to 2.5, maybe even lower. That would be great for the market. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna put the chat back in and take a look at everything. Let's say, why are Canadians importing beef from Australia? I don't know. You guys should ask Tanner and Tevis that. But I know Tevis is busy watching the UFC right now. We do need the cut. Absolutely. Steve, wouldn't you want them not to cut rates for a quick dip because next year we're cutting heavy anyway? No. I want them to cut. Look, I try to make my investment decisions for the long term, and I would rather sacrifice being able to buy assets cheap for a couple of months than people potentially losing their jobs. I am way more in favor of a cut because I think it is the right thing to do for the job market than anything that would benefit me personally. I mean, I think that we need to, while it's very important to analyze a portfolio and think about what makes sense to monetize your capital, I think it's more important to realize we are in a economy with hundreds of millions of people, and making sure that there are maximum amount of jobs for Americans that are good paying jobs is the most important thing. We do not want an economy that becomes more restrictive. I would rather forego a dip to buy to make sure that there are the least amount of layoffs possible. That's just how I feel. Right or wrong, I look at the big picture and I want a job market that is good for everybody. That's just how I feel. I mean, would I like to buy more assets at a cheaper price? Absolutely, but not at the sacrifice of American jobs, not even one American job. So I truly hope the Fed does the right thing and they get off their high horse, and I will beat this drum until the end. They need to stop with the dual mandate bullshit. I'm going to get angry now. I'm going to try not to. They really need to stop with the dual mandate stuff. It's fine to say that they're on both sides where they have to make sure they have price stability in addition to an inclusive job market. But at some point, you can't walk the thin line between both of them, and you have to pick what is more important. And there is not, without a shadow of a doubt, it is more important to make sure that we are not losing jobs than whether inflation is at 2.5, or 3%. We're not in an inflation crisis. If we were in an inflation crisis, I would say that we need to do other things to help fight this. And at the same time, I think people really need to think about how the free markets work. And when there is a way to make money, companies will come in and people will come in and figure out a way to make money. So if there is too much demand and not enough supply, over time and pretty quickly, people will figure out how to get more supply in the market because they're able to make money on it. So that's where I'm at with that. Tanner doesn't know. Well, no, Pamela. Tanner knows about Shopify. That's probably the only Canadian stock he knows about. So let's give him one. And we can even say a second one. We can say Enbridge because I've drilled that into his head. Other than those, I agree. I don't think he knows about Canadian stocks. Yeah, Tevis was blowing up my phone about it. He's like, "Are you watching this? Are you watching this?" And I said, "No, I'm working. I'm writing a UFC article. I'm writing a Microsoft article." But you know what? I think I'm going to do an article on TKO Group because they own UFC and WWE. I feel like I want to do an article on them. Maybe I'll make that a project this week. I can't tell you how many shares are optimal in realty income to have. I mean, that's all personal preference for you. You want me to talk about Oracle? Got my pen. Well, maybe we'll fit it in and we'll talk about some Oracle. Let's see. You know, I don't know how the bond market's going to react. We'll see. We will see. Hey, Steve, for Christmas, can you gift us a discount? And I want to read why you downgraded Alphabet. All right. So I probably should I'll make it a point. I'm writing it down. I will reach out to somebody at Seeking Alpha and I will see if I can get some type of link that gives everybody a discount. I have no idea if they do those things or not. I've never inquired. I'm happy to send them an email for you guys and see what we can do. Happy to do that. And I will discuss why I downgraded Alphabet when we get to big tech. I'm making a note. All right, made a note of that. Let's see. Yeah, Pamela, definitely easier said than done with remaining calm and talking about the Fed. I mean, freaking the Fed. All right. So this is not true. So I'm going to read a comment. Did you guys hear that SoFi hired some clown from X to be the new CFO? I'm selling all my shares Monday morning. All right. So that's not true. I'm actually banning this person personally. Here's why. I know Chris. Okay. Chris is incredibly smart. If you have the pleasure to actually talk to Chris one-on-one, he's very genuine, super smart, and as a longtime shareholder of SoFi, I am so happy Chris is working that. It sucks because I'm not going to be able to talk to Chris about SoFi anymore, and I'll probably talk to him less. He's not going to be on the Friday night show anymore. But guy's super smart. If you go back and you read his posts and the due diligence that he's done, he puts out some real thorough due diligence. He got SoFi, because of his due diligence, to actually add in their quarterly earnings reports the whole CECL activity and a bunch of other stuff. Now, he is a petroleum engineer by trade, highly intelligent. Him and I agree on some stocks, we disagree on others, but the conversation is always intellectual, and I cannot say enough good things about that guy. And they did not hire him to be the next or the new CFO. They hired him to work for the CFO. And I have no doubt, and everybody that I've talked to that knows him has no doubt that he's going to do a great job there. So what he explained is that he's going to be more on the investor relations side type stuff. And one of the things I'm really happy about is because I said to Chris last night, if you could try to make sure that SoFi does an investor day every day, I think that would go a long way. Not every day, every year. I think it would go a long way when you look at what Robinhood is doing. Vlad does events every quarter now. SoFi has not done an investor day since they went public. I think they should do it once a year. So we'll see. But really happy for him. I think it's going to be a great fit. Let's see. Powell blowing up the market on his way out. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen because he would be screwing over hardworking Americans at that point. And I just don't think that that's him. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree that the Fed it's very interesting. The Fed seems that they ignore data. And one of the things that I don't understand, and maybe Chels can answer me this because she made a good point. So, what crisis are we actually in? I have no freaking clue. And why is it that we're always waiting on reports? So, everybody here, whether you're self employed or whether you work for a company on W 2, you pay taxes. You get a paycheck every 2 weeks and you pay taxes. If you are self employed, you're paying quarterly estimates. And if you're getting it from a private company or you have a S corp or an LLC and you're paying yourself bi-weekly, whatever, you're still paying taxes. How is it when all that revenue is going into the government, we don't have real-time reporting? How do we not have real-time reporting where we cannot just look at the current collections from taxes and know where we're at with how many people pay taxes versus how many didn't the previous week? It doesn't make sense to me. In this day and age, with all the freaking technology that we have, the fact that we are still waiting for some report to come out where it should be on a freaking dashboard is insane. And I don't understand why they haven't fixed that yet. It doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Midwest, what am I supposed to quiz you on? I must have missed something. Wow, your wife works 3 jobs plus 2 side jobs. Jeez, that's more than I work. I'm doing 3 things. I can't do 5. That's crazier than me at this point. Double bicep. That's not happening. Plus, I don't work out anymore. BMNR. Look, nobody knows what's happening with BMNR. It is a long-term play on Ethereum. Look, anybody who says that they know something about that, I sure as hell don't. I do a lot of research. All I can tell you is that my thesis on Ethereum is still intact, in my opinion, and I think BMNR is going to do well over time. I'm down on it like a lot of people, so I always said I'm scaling my way into it because I have no idea what it's going to do. So we'll see. Starting to come back. Definitely got my average down. Yeah, listen, I enjoy going live. I enjoy the community. I enjoy creating content. So I'm trying to go live when I can. Especially it's winter time out. Now's the time to do it. TKO Group has been doing very good. It has been doing very good. And I should have bought it at the IPO. Yeah, we'll get into WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, soon. I did downgrade Alphabet. And I'm trying to catch up on these comments. So I'm going to try to go a little quicker and we'll get into the next subject, which is Netflix, Warner Brothers. No, not Chris Patel. Data-driven investing. Chris Hager on X, his handle is data-driven investing. I don't believe Tanner owns Duolingo. I know Chris Hager does and a bunch of other people. I don't think Tanner owns it. Yeah, everyone, I agree. DDI is a good guy. Ray, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Chemical engineer. I messed that up. Yeah. Chemical engineer, not petroleum engineer. Same difference. I'm so happy that there's a lot of comments saying Chris is a good guy. He is. Look, he really is. June, yep, thank you. Chemical engineer. I stand corrected. The government wants the ability to bend the truth. Well, I still think that we have the ability to have real-time data. So I don't understand why we don't. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Charles, I agree. In this type of era, there's no reason why we can't. I mean, everything flows through, everything is electronic. People are not getting paid in cash. People are getting paychecks. The taxes are coming out. It's pretty easy. How many unique individuals did you collect tax from this pay period versus the previous one? And then figure out what the delta is. I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard. All right. Finally caught up on all the comments. So we'll move on to the next segment. Let me try to figure out. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch some of this to try to figure out where that timestamp is. All right, Netflix, Warner Brothers Discovery. So Warner Brothers Discovery was trading in the single digits, and then they floated the idea of putting themselves on the acquisition block, and the stock has been going up, and up. And I have said for a long time, this is one of the crown jewels. Warner Brothers Discovery has crown jewel assets that will never be up again for sale once it gets acquired. I am an annoyed Apple shareholder because Apple should have acquired them last year, but they didn't because, quite honestly, Tim Cook, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I can't wait for Apple to have a new CEO. But that's a different thing. I'll get into that on the tech side, and I'll go off on that. I am actually moving the comments so I can go back and look and read through them after this segment. So the deal is about $72 billion in equity value and $80 billion plus when you include the debt. So what's interesting is the way that Netflix is looking to finance this is a $59 billion bridge loan by Wells Fargo, which will be the biggest bridge facility Wells has ever underwritten. And they're planning on $25 billion or so in unsecured bonds and $20 billion in new term loans and a $5 billion revolver. So pretty interesting. The unsecured bonds are going to be $20 billion in new term and $5 billion revolver. A lot of debt, but I got to tell you, I'm not a Netflix fan, but this is a great deal for them if they can get it done. And the leverage is going to go up near term, but I think that they're right. I think that depending on how they do it, and they have not said to my knowledge what they're going to do, but they're getting DC, they're getting Harry Potter, Batman, they're getting a huge library of classic IP. You're getting HBO, you're getting HBO Max platform. And we all know, I mean, look, I would be willing to bet a lot of people here love the content on HBO. When I think about their shows and their media, they're one of the best in just IP properties from a TV show standpoint. Sopranos, Oz, Entourage, I mean, Sex and the City, which I don't watch, but it's huge. You have Game of Thrones, True Blood, which everybody sleeps on. True Blood was a great show. You got Westworld. I know there's others I'm forgetting. I mean, Ballers was amazing. It was hilarious. There's a lot of shows on HBO and a lot of shows that people go back and watch and rewatch. And it's an incredible content library. So where I think that they're going to go with this is, and I didn't even realize that HBO has over 110 million subscribers. I didn't even realize that. So HBO is the number 4 streaming service. And now YouTube was not in there when I looked at it. It was Netflix, Amazon. Shit, what was number 3? Now I got to bring it up. I don't even remember what number 3 was now. I should probably use Google, right? Freaking, I don't know why this is not set on Google for my search engine. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and then Max. And then you have Hulu. I wonder if top streaming services by subscribers. When is this from though? This isn't even new data. If anybody has a link where we can see, let me type this in. Give me one second. 2025 streaming services by subscribers. All right, this says it's from 2025. Okay, here we go. Netflix 301.6 million. Amazon Prime 200 million plus. I mean, this is weird. This is saying HBO Max is 128 and Disney is 127.8. So I guess those may be flipped after Q3. Maybe. Paramount is number 5 in the US with 77 million. So there's a big drop off. Then Hulu at 55 million. So this is going to get interesting, to say the least. All right, here we go. I actually found one that's aggregated that I can share. Here we go. All right. So this is more in line to what I saw the other day when I was doing the research. And look, what I think that they're going to do, if I was Netflix, I'd gut HBO Max. I get rid of it. I put everything on Netflix. It becomes a bolt-on acquisition, and you no longer have the cost of running that platform. Huge synergies. So this will create for Netflix unmatched franchise IP, global distribution network, and they're going to have different tiers. Max will probably be an upcharge. I cannot see it going into the actual subscription model that they have right now. I just don't think so. Now, here's where the tinfoil hat that I continuously talk about comes on. The competitive landscape and industry fallout is huge. And this deal did not happen in a vacuum. Warner Brothers was auctioned off, and you had very serious bids from Paramount in addition to Comcast. Now, why Apple and why Amazon were not bidding, I have no idea. Maybe Amazon I can understand, but I mean, freaking Apple, they are out of their minds not bidding on this. So Paramount is backed by the Ellison family. Ellison family, Larry Ellison, one of the richest men in the world, Oracle, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I think that this is a DOJ nightmare for Netflix. One, if they were going to do this, they should have done it with the last administration. Even though Lena Khan would have probably freaked out, they would have had a much easier time, I think, getting it through with the last administration than they do with this administration. What does Warner Brothers Discovery own? They own CNN. Just saying. Now, Paramount, Larry Ellison has ties to the administration, and I do think that they're going to go directly to shareholders because this is expected to take 12 to 18 months to get done. And I think they're going to go to the shareholders, wink, wink, nod, nod, trying to sell them on the idea that we're going to be able to get this through in 6 months or so. It's already been negotiated. Even though they can't say that, I think it'll be the wink, wink, nod, nod thing. And there's a $5.8 billion breakup thing if Netflix can't get this across the line, which at this point, I think the Ellison family is going to be willing to pay and sweeten the deal and create a bigger bid, even though bidding's closed. Because just because the board says bidding is closed, they can still take this to the shareholders and force a vote. And We'll see. I think that they're going to do something sneaky. Who knows? But I don't think this is not that it's not good for consumers, but I don't think it'll be perceived as good for consumers because you're merging the number one and number four, and you'll effectively have fit what 60% more streaming subscribers than the second place. If Paramount buys them, they're still not number two. They become number three because they will still have less subscribers than Amazon. So I think it's much easier to get this through the regulators, and it's not just federal, you have state regulators also. And this could also be looked at if this goes to Netflix, and the same could probably be said that if this merger happens anyway. But I think more so with Netflix, that this is going to kill the movie business because it'll be more direct to consumer, direct to consumer. At least Paramount and Warner Brothers Studios have distribution history with movie complexes. So I think that's something else that they're going to consider. That's just me. So we'll see. If I had a guess, I don't think this gets done. And I don't even know if Netflix is interesting here because if this doesn't get done, what happens to Netflix stock? I've never owned Netflix. I probably should have. It's an amazing company. It's an amazing service. They've created a lot of value for shareholders. It's just something I was never interested in. And I think the reason was I always find myself getting a subscription and then logging in, can't figure out what I want to watch and going back to YouTube. To me, YouTube is the best streaming service, personal preference. And I normally only get Netflix when I want to watch a new series of something such as The Recruit or The Night Agent, and then I cancel it. Like I'm never canceling Prime. That's just amazing. And I'm not canceling HBO because all the quality content, historical value. And now with the UFC deal, sure as hell not getting rid of Paramount Plus. I can tell you that much. So I'm going to go back to the comments. I'm trying to be better about not ignoring the chat as much. And what I find myself doing is taking the comments off because I try reading them when I'm discussing the topics, and sometimes I get sidetracked. So we'll do it in segments. Yep, Tim Cook playing it safe. I agree. I have not looked at Paramount stock, so I can't say anything about it. Yeah, of course. I mean, in Netflix's eyes, they got the bid, but this isn't signed off on. Anything can happen. I agree that the HBO stuff would be better on Paramount. I absolutely agree. I will not pay any more fees for Netflix. I will not subsidize Warner Brothers debt. I mean, if I was Netflix, I would keep the tiers the way that they are, and then I would have a upcharge for the Warner Brothers content and HBO content. You may not have to pay any extra fees. Wells Fargo crooks, Pamela. Yeah, I mean, they did get caught on some shady stuff. So Tommy, your question, Netflix has to pay off Warner Brothers debt. So if they acquire Warner Brothers, they're acquiring the debt also. Now, as part of the deal, the legacy, if I understand it correctly, the legacy channels, cable networks that are within the portfolio will go into a SpinCo company, and that will be a separate company. And if we look at what happened with the AT&T and Warner Brothers Discovery deal, they'll offload some of the debt into that. So how much debt is going to go onto their balance sheet in addition to what they're taking from the bridge loan and the unsecured bonds? I have no idea. But there is, I think, $38 billion in long-term debt on the Warner Brothers balance sheet. So whatever they can spin off into the side company with the legacy media channels is going to go right into Netflix's balance sheet. So we'll see. Netflix has to pay off Trump to close this deal. I don't know if they can. I mean, just think about this. He hates CNN. Don't you think he, and this is where my tinfoil hat comes out, don't you think he would find it hilarious if Larry Ellison and his sons ultimately owned CNN? Just saying. We'll see. Netflix got downgraded to 92. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Oh, Tales from the Crypt. You're right. That was an HBO show. Yeah, Succession. Chels, how the hell did I forget Succession? Jesus. The Wire. Didn't I said The Wire, right? I think I said The Wire. I did not watch White Lotus. A lot of people told me to watch White Lotus. I haven't done it. I know Michael Emporium, whoever his name is, probably pronounced it wrong. We'll use his Sopranos name, Christopher Moltisanti, was in it, among other people. Yeah, True Blood was great. I freaking loved it. I may actually go back and watch True Blood again. Silicon Valley, that was on HBO also. Great show. Curb Your Enthusiasm. What the hell am I thinking about? Righteous Gemstones. I mean, think about all the freaking content. It's amazing. True Blood is not Showtime. True Blood is 100% HBO. Yeah, a lot of these shows were ahead of their times. And a lot of these shows I don't think you can make, and again, I don't think you can. Yeah, I know, Charles. I know. I said I was going to make a tinfoil hat. I forgot. I need to put it on my desk somewhere and keep it here, and maybe do a tinfoil corner segment every freaking show. Apple is 100% scared money. All they care about is buybacks because they're not growing revenue. They're not growing cash from operations. And the only way that they can get EPS to expand is through buybacks. It's freaking ridiculous. Yeah, I'm seeing comments about SiriusXM. I actually looked into the numbers. The numbers are really freaking interesting. I'm surprised Spotify hasn't taken them out yet. No, I do not really watch NFL because I don't have a team to root for. So I don't know. What's your Warner Brothers price to sell? I have no idea when I'm going to get out. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh my God. How to Make It in America? Why did they only make 2 seasons? That was such a good show. Oh, you know what? Nobody's said it yet. Maybe they did. Another good show, The Deuce. What a good show that they did on HBO. It was only 3 or 4 seasons. John Franco. It's freaking great. But How to Make It in America, it is a shame they did not come back for season 3. That show was hilarious. And I got to tell you, I like those 27-minute shows. They go by quick. They're entertaining. Next thing you know, you watch 3 or 4 of them and you want to watch a 5th. I really like it. Good call. Good call, Rob. I love that show. Billions was Showtime. Billions is one of my favorite shows. Yeah, I didn't really get into 6 Feet Under. Oh, you just started the last season of Billions. You're in for a surprise. You're going to like it. Band of Brothers, incredible on HBO. Incredible. Yes, if the deal goes through, I think Netflix will benefit immensely. These are assets that Netflix will never sell, and it makes them infinitely stronger and hurts everybody else. The League was not a HBO show. The League was on USA, I think. I think that was cable TV. As crazy as that is. Hold on. Probably not the thing to ask, right? FX. Why did I think HBO? FX. So it was on FX. Yeah. You listen, I gotta tell you, I could do a whole TV stream with this chat. This chat is freaking great. Freaking great. I gotta tell you. Burn Notice, one of my favorite shows. When You're a Spy, Michael Weston. Great show. Animal Kingdom, great show. Peaky Blinders, great show. Um, yep. Dr. Wendy Rhodes was in Sons of Anarchy, great show. Yeah, Sopranos is worth a lot. People still go back and freaking watch it. People definitely go back and watch it. Seinfeld or Curb, I mean, I grew up on Seinfeld, so I gotta say Seinfeld, even though Curb's amazing. It's Seinfeld. Yeah, FX has got really good content too. I have not watched Love Island. I apologize. FX has some gritty content. The Shield, Sons, all that good stuff. All right. Let's get into SOFI dilution. So we got some news out of SOFI. This is going to be pretty quick. So SOFI is issuing $1.5 billion in a stock offering, and it's being underwritten by Goldman. They're selling 54.55 million new shares at $27.50, with an additional 8.18 million share green shoe option for Goldman. So it's all primary shares, no insider selling, and the deal is expected to close on December 8th. So when you run the numbers at 1.17 going up to 1.21 billion, we got about 4.5% dilution, and after everything's fully exercised, we're going to be around 5% dilution. So shares sold off around 6 or 7%. So some people took this as an opportunity to add to the position because they felt, well, if we're at max getting sold off by 5% and it's down 6 or 7%, that's a deal. And people I'm talking about is Tanner. He openly said last night that he added SOFI on the news because the stock fell more than what the dilution is. Now, what I had said last night on FinTech Friday is I am fine with them doing this. The reason I'm fine with SOFI doing this is I would rather them dilute shareholders at these levels than have to dilute in a month or two if the stock falls, because we'll get diluted even more at a $20 price. Now, I'm not saying it's going to fall to 20, but if they have to raise the capital, I'd rather them do it here than at a lower price point, because they get to issue less shares to raise the money that they need to raise. If I didn't trust that Anthony Noto knew what he was doing and Chris LaPointe knows what he's doing, I would exit my position and I wouldn't be in SOFI. I have to trust that the management team knows what they're doing. Now, when it comes to SOFI, they have a lot of things that they can do with that capital. One of the things that I think could be on the table is an acquisition, maybe. If it's not an acquisition, they may want to invest in more loans at this point, because if the Fed cuts aggressively over the next 6 to 8 months, they'll be able to sell those loans in the second half of 2026 for a decent premium and generate a good amount of capital, because those loans will be worth more because of the coupons attached to them in a lower rate environment. So that's something that could happen. They may look to roll out more products, hire more engineers. Who knows? But every time SoFi has done this, remember, and this is where people in the market have a short memory. In Q2, we got a triple beat on earnings in the morning, and then we got diluted in the afternoon. And SoFi said this had nothing to do with earnings, blah, blah, blah. This may impact EPS in Q3. Okay. What happened in Q3? Triple beat, and the beat on EPS was bigger than what people expected. Even us that were more bullish than the analysts on the street, SoFi's EPS topped what we thought it was going to be. And that came after issuing more shares. Obviously, they put that capital to good use throughout Q2. I think that this is going to be for a good use, and I'm not worried about it. If I was worried about it, I would tell everybody and I would exit my position. Just because I'm holding and I'm still very bullish does not mean that anyone else should be. Okay, you have to do your own due diligence. All I'm saying is I'm not freaking out over this. I'm actually happy because they're issuing at a high share price. So they're able to raise more capital with less dilution. So I'm good with that. Well, I'm very interested to see what they're going to do. I do think, and I have said openly, that I think SoFi has a communication problem. I think and I know they've been doing more fireside chats lately, but I do think they should do an investor day once a year or maybe twice a year. I really think that they need to address shareholders, allow shareholders to ask questions the way that Robinhood does, and go from there. On the side of prediction markets, and I know that that's going through people's minds, I don't want SoFi getting into it from a sports aspect. Now, if they have prediction markets for earnings and economic stuff, I'm perfectly okay with that. I am perfectly okay with people being able to buy contracts on if Microsoft is going to beat earnings or not. What I don't want to happen is as a nationally chartered bank, I don't want there to be sports prediction markets on there, because even though it's a prediction, a lot of people look at it as gambling, and I just don't want that tied to a platform that is a nationally chartered banking platform. I just don't want it tied to it. And I think it's important that that doesn't happen. Maybe I'm wrong. I know there's other people that feel adults, they should be able to do whatever they want to do with their money. And I agree with that 100%. I don't think that there should be regulations on it. All I'm saying is from a platform aspect, I would rather SoFi not get into sports and keep it to economic outcomes and earnings outcomes if they're going to do it. So that's just me. So I think we're going to have a really good Q4, and I think we're going to have a really good 2026 for SoFi. As rates come down, I'm getting more bullish for SoFi because they have a lot of loans on the books. They're going to become more valuable. We are going to have an expanding NIM, which is their net interest margin, because the way that the banks operate are we put our money in deposits. Banks are able to take that with fractional banking, since we're no longer on the gold standard, and they're able to lend out way more than what we deposit and keep going and going. Now, they pay us interest in order for them to do that. SoFi has already lent a lot of capital out via student and personal loans at high rates. As rates come down and as SoFi pays less on the interest for all the deposits, their net interest margin, the NIM, is going to expand. And that will make profitability on the banking side increase, because they're going to have to pay less to the members on deposits while they're still generating their fixed rate on all the loans that they did in a higher rate environment. I think that's something that people are overlooking. I also think for new loans, one, cost of capital becomes lower, because now instead of having to pay 5.5%, they're going to have to pay 3.5%. So 200 bips lower. and they start lending more because originations increase because now it's a lower rate environment, people are more likely to tap debt. I think they're going to win out their origination game. So there's a lot of things I'm excited about for 2026. I'm also excited about the tech platform and seeing what happens with these banks. This was a big investment thesis for me with the fintech, the AWS of fintech. SoFi owns Galileo, which is the payment rails. SoFi owns Technesis, which is the cloud banking platform. They merged the two together. They've moved all of their stuff onto a single core stack via both components. And they're currently in several RFPs with large financial institutions and large regional banks for this product. If SoFi can become the platform that powers just one large money center, whether it's Citibank, whether it's Wells, whether it's USB, I will be very happy because they will be then effectively generating recurring revenue from their competitors, in addition to owning the entire back end, which nobody else does. So there's a lot to look forward for in 2026. So that's my stance on SoFi. Going back to the chat right now, and we'll see what's going on. I couldn't get into Ozark. Wow, you guys are still on freaking TV shows. Boardwalk Empire. Yeah, how did I miss that on HBO? Jesus. Landman was great. Oh, yeah. And the crypto platform for SoFi and level 1 options are going to be freaking great. They're going to be great. I think it's going to be really good. Let's see. Steve, outside of index funds, fixed income, and Spectacular 6, what are your largest position? Good question. SoFi and Palantir, probably. Yeah, Sons of Anarchy was amazing. Highly recommend it to anybody if they didn't watch it. It's freaking great. I think SoFi's going to get in prediction markets also. I just don't want them to do sports. I don't want them to be looked at as sports betting. So, Eastbound, yeah, I couldn't get into it. Money Heist on Netflix was legit. That was so legit. Adobe, I think, is in trouble. The numbers make a lot of sense. I know they're buying back a lot of shares, but I got to tell you, the more that I see with Nano Banana and these other things, I mean, if you look at the thumbnail for tonight's show, I did that on freaking Gemini in 10 seconds. I mean, I think Adobe's going to have issues. Man, I'm glad so many people are doing well in QXO. I'm really freaking excited about them. I really am. I haven't used Sora yet. I heard it's really good. I'm not worried about Bitcoin tanking the market if it dumps, but we'll see what happens. All right. Everybody, I'm just going to say that I'm going to spend a minute on this one comment because we have a college student and I want to help them out. Hey, Steven, I have a company. I have to do a company report for a corporate finance college final. Any company recommendations? Yes. Do not do something obscure that the professor has not heard about. For the love of God. Please do not do GameStop either. Do not do it. In all seriousness, I would pick either Amazon, Alphabet, or Microsoft. Or Apple for that matter. Because there's just so much information out there, and understanding their business products and their business line is going to be so easy. and a professor is not going to be able to refute it because of the amount of EBITDA, operating income, free cash flow, and net income that they produce. So that's my recommendation. I would not do NVIDIA because they may try to come out and challenge you that it's cyclical, blah, 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 blah. But Microsoft is one of the most perfect companies because they own the entire back-end infrastructure between Windows operating, Azure for cloud hosting, M365 for the office environment, SharePoint, LinkedIn. I mean, there is not a more complete company. Amazon, very complete. Same with Alphabet. And then Apple, you have a 2 billion device install base. So I hope that helps. I'd love to give you some pointers. Listen, Crimpy Dorf, hit me up on X. Send me a private message. I'll look at it later tonight or tomorrow. Give me the details. I will be happy to help you. Happy to help anybody that has to do a college final. I'll try to find the time. I'm not going to write it for you, but I will definitely throw you some things to look at. So shoot me a message on X. I'll go into the stuff of people that I'm not connected with, and I'll try to look for your name. Chels, we all need more money for QXL. I'm telling you. This guy, Brad Jacobs, I'm not going to say what I said about him, but let's just say this guy's a freaking killer. This guy, I think all he does is care about business. And I have a good feeling about this. No, listen, JPM, I think is too complex of a thing to really do. I just don't think it's easy to do and explain. So that's just my 2 cents. I really think that Amazon, Alphabet, or Microsoft is easy to explain, easy to get the concepts right, and you don't have to go down the rabbit hole of the whole lending business and banking business and how they make their money and the CECL and all that stuff, Fed requirements. Trust me, banking's a freaking bear to get your brain around. I wouldn't do it. Stick with one of those big ones. Oh, we got another one. College finals, lost zone. I'm doing Meta, doing a week from tomorrow. Go read some of my articles on Meta. I actually did one not too long ago. I'll probably give you some good ideas. Meta is another good one you can do it on. Yeah, Iris, I don't disagree that tech companies can get political, but I mean, the reality is you do Microsoft or Alphabet, they're so big right now that it's pretty hard for anybody to refute the business aspect of those companies. How much to write it for him? I'm not going to, one, if I decide to write it for him, I sure as hell wouldn't charge him. I'm not writing it for him. And I don't even know if it's a him. I'm not writing it for the person. I'm happy to give them some pointers and just some ideas of how I would structure it. But I'm certainly not writing it for them. I don't have that type of time. Would I buy Meta at this price or wait for a pullback? I mean, I've been screaming that Meta is a freaking deal and a half. I don't know, I still think it's cheap. So I don't know about this whole Apple employees either leaving or being removed from their positions. I'll have to look into it. I don't know if anyone else is joining. Let me bust Matt's chops. They're asking if you are joining. So I know Chris is on a trip. He said he may be able to join tonight. I know Tanner and Tevis were not joining. So we'll see if Matt wants to come. I need a crypto mega rally to save my MSTR shit. I am not a sailor, guys, so I don't know what to tell you on that one. Can I do a deep dive on Morgan Stanley? I don't know if I have time for that. It's not something I really follow. I do agree that I think QXO is very early in the game. Yeah, I'm with Rambler. I think banks and credit unions would be very hard to do for this project. So, yes, Preserval Zero, he could or she could have GPT rated for free. At the same time, you know, there are all these professors put them through certain things, could get detected. And plus, if you're in a corporate finance class, wouldn't you want to learn all these different things with the finance statements from the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement? I mean, I don't know. I am not following the Luigi Maggioni trial. I gotta tell you, I have no idea if a Bloomberg terminal is worth it or not. I have no idea. It's not something I've ever looked into or that I care about. I'm not a trader, so I don't know. Yeah, I'll do a full QXO thing at some point again. I already did one. I'll do another one. Favorite cover call ETFs right now are QQQI and GPIQ. Those are just the two that I've been buying. I like them a lot. Hey, Spencer's here. What's up, Spencer? I mean, I've been saying QXO for a while. It wasn't a memo. I even wrote an article about it. I mean, in all seriousness, everyone, I do usually 5 articles a week on Seeking Alpha. So follow me on Seeking Alpha at some point if you want to see everything I'm writing about, because I don't talk about every single thing I put an article out about. But I did put this article out on October 28th. QXO is up 15% since then. It was at $18.10. It dipped right after it. And I always said that I could not call tops and bottoms. And it dipped. I bought more. It's over 20 right now. And I don't know what it's going to do. But I think it's interesting. I think it's going to do well, but I don't know. Let's see. BM&R shareholder meeting in Vegas in January. I know there's a lot of people joking about going. I don't think anybody's really that serious. So I don't think any of us are going. I can tell you I'm not going. I have no interest in going to Vegas for anything. So that's just me. Yeah, Chels, I started looking into Copin. I never finished. I got sidetracked. So let's see. Oh boy. Do I think it's better to submit to PSA ourselves or through GameStop? I'd rather submit it through a local card shop than GameStop, but I think doing it through GameStop or card shop is better than doing it on your own. I have a theory that you get better grades going through one of those establishments. I can't prove it, I just have a theory. I have no idea where to stay in the city. I couldn't even tell you. I live here, so I don't stay in hotels here. So I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people like the Godell terminal, so I've never used it. We'll see. I do think XRP can do well still, so we'll see. Here's the QXO article, and see what happens. I have not read Brad Jacobs' book. I'm going to get it on audio and listen to it when I drive in the car. And by the way, whoever made that picture of me driving through the city, it was hilarious. As a Seeking Alpha article, I can gift 5 articles per month. So no, I cannot gift a lot of articles. Yes, I will retract that statement. I would go to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker, but I have no intention of playing in it for a while. But I am going to play in it at least 1 year. That'll be the only time I'll be going to Vegas. I've been to Vegas once. I will never go back because there is nothing that I'm going to do in Vegas that I can't do in Atlantic City. Full stop. I'm not getting on a plane and flying 5 hours to freaking Vegas. It's not worth it. I'm going there. I'm going to gamble. I'm going to eat red meat. And I'm going to sleep. That's it. There's nothing special about Vegas at all. Not going. So, yeah, I'm not bullish on JEPQ anymore, and it's because of the numbers. The numbers are no longer enticing. I actually did an article about that November 10th. What advice would you give to a 20-year-old investor? Look, this is what I would say. If I was 20 and I could go back and tell myself something, it would be for a while, put half of whatever you're investing in the S&P 500 and do it on a monthly basis. That's what I would tell my younger self. And by quality over quantity. Don't get hung up on share count. Percentage is what you need to worry about, not share count. I don't care if you're buying 100 shares of a $10 stock or 10 shares of a $100 stock. Stock goes up by 50%, you make the same amount of money. Mrs. Lawfi, yeah, I started looking at Copen. I gotta do more research. I never got to finish it. Yeah, DGen dude, listen, I'm not saying that Vegas isn't better than Atlantic City. Atlantic City's a shithole, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there's nothing that I can't do in Atlantic City that I can do in Vegas. For me, I'm going to gamble, eat, and sleep. That's it. So I can either take the plane from MacArthur down to AC and be there in 25 minutes. When I say the plane, I do not have a plane, but I can get on the freaking plane that runs 3 days a week down there, or I can drive. I can be there in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like there's just no reason for me to go to Vegas. Oh boy, we got somebody who bought Mega Evolutions. I love that. Let's say, can you walk to the casino from the Atlantic City Airport? No, they pick you up and bring you to the casino. It's right there. Like, I don't need to. And plus, I don't play slot machines, so being in the Vegas airport doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not hitting slot machines in the freaking airport. Yeah, I'm not giving out my email address. Like, yes, I know that I skipped your thing. I'm not giving out my email address. Sorry. So this is what I will say. I taught myself how to count cards. I downloaded an app and put it on 8-shoe deck, and for an entire year on the subway, I taught myself how to count. And I can play basic strategy. I gotta tell you, I hate blackjack. It just doesn't freaking work. Like, I hate blackjack. I play craps, play pie gow, and then if I want to just freaking wing it, 3-card poker. But craps is the game, and I have a full mathematical strategy on it. So now roulette's only good if you're trying to boost your comps and you bet in a very certain way. Oh, because I enjoy shooting craps. It's so much fun. You get on a good table with 10 people and it's going well, it's so much fun. So much fun. Okay, Chels. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it now. I am so interested in learning Baccarat that I am going to go down a rabbit hole. When I figure out the strategy, I will let you know. Now, I actually don't think there's really a strategy based on the odds, but I've watched enough stuff with that guy, Nicky Mace or whatever his name is. And now that Dana White is freaking all in on Baccarat, I got to think that there's something there. So I'm actually going to really analyze it. There's a website, Wizard of Odds. They do really good research. So you can go there. But I got to tell you, listen, I'll get to big tech in a sec. I'm going to give everybody the crap strategy. So craps is all mathematical. You got 2 dice and 36 combinations on the dice. On the come out roll, 7 and 11 win, 2, 3, and 12 you lose. 2, 3, and 12 are craps. 7 and 11 you win. So we're going to go in increments of 10. Every $10 you put on the pass line, you put $2 on any crap. Any crap is insurance, pays 7 to 1 in case a 2, 3, or 12 come out. So if a 2, 3, or 12 come out, you make 14 on your 2. You lose your 10 on the pass line. You put 10 back on the pass. You put 4 in the rack, and your $2 bet stays up. Your net 4 plus. If a 7 or 11 come out, you win 10 on the pass line. You lose your $2 any crap as insurance. So you put the 10 in the rack. Your $10 bet stays up, and then you throw $2 back on any crap. Your net plus 8. So no matter what happens, if a 7, 11, or a 2, 3, 12 comes out, you're coming out ahead. Now, a point gets established. Let's say a 5 gets hit. You're going to do not do the come out roll. It's a big box there because it's a sucker bet. Anybody who thinks that's a good bet, I feel sorry for you. It's not a good bet. You don't do it. Mathematically, it doesn't work. And I love when people say, but you can take odds on it. Yeah, but you need to roll a 6 just to have your money move to the 6, and you got to do it again. A 7 has 16.67% chance of coming out. It's not worth it. So what I do is I place the 4 and the points 5, so you have it on the pass line, and then you place the 6, 8, 9, 10. Now you have 24 out of 36 combinations of one of your numbers hitting and only 6 combinations of a 7 hitting. So you have a 66.67 chance of one of your numbers coming out versus a 16.67 chance of a 7. So you effectively have a 50% house edge every time the dice are rolled. Based on the way that the place bets are paid, they have different payout structure. 4 and 10 is 2-1. 5 and 9 is like 9-5 or something like that. And effectively, you only need 3 or 4 of your numbers to hit in order for all your money that's on the table to come back to you into the rack. Once you get there, I then tell the stick man to go up a unit every number that gets hit. So then every number that gets hit, half of the winnings goes on the number to build the tower, half of it comes into the rack. That's the way I play craps. Sometimes the dice do well for you. Sometimes they don't, but this strategy will keep you within a line. And mathematically, it works. I can tell you it's worked for me pretty well. And when I say pretty well, it's because I got to a point where everything is paid for by the casino. Like, I don't pay for rooms, I don't pay for food, don't pay for booze, no resort fees, nothing. So it works out. Even if I lose a little bit at the table, I can send a text to the host and I can go down whenever I want. So that's why I like playing craps. And it's a really fun game. But Chels, I will look into the whole Baccarat thing and figure it out. And no, Zinc, I am not a boomer. Come on, I'm not that old. Rambler, I should have done accounting instead of economics, in all seriousness. I think that's some advice that I could definitely give. Doing accounting and getting a CPA is freaking amazing. You know, and I would say this. An accountant can go into economics or do anything else. Somebody with an economics degree cannot become an accountant. So I would totally, if I had to do it again, I would have done accounting. Charles, did you like that whole rambling about craps? Considering you asked about blackjack, and if you did like it, do you play craps? Yeah, I'm not going to get into what I do, but I'm always in meetings. I mean, this is going to sound bad, but I mean, down in AC, it's not the best casino, but I have allegiance to Caesars. It's not the best casino down there. I mean, you want to talk about the best casino? It's Borgata. I mean, there's no question about it. It's fucking Borgata. It's not Ocean. It's not Hard Rock. But because I've been to Caesars so many times with my buddies, it's just special. Memories type thing. But I like the French Quarter at the Tropicana. I like to walk through the Tropicana. I don't like gambling at the Tropicana. Borgata is great. Can't say anything bad about Borgata. Whoa, 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 whoa. Chels, when you go to the casino, you play slots? One of my buddies I was at dinner with the other night loves playing freaking Buffalo slot machine. I can't do it. Yeah, table games, craps is where it's at, especially if you're at a good table. Oh my God. Tropicana is still there, yeah. Tropicana is still there. Yeah, I mean, let's just say I don't pay for anything down there. All right, let's get into big tech. There are some questions on big tech. And Matt still has not looked at my message yet. That was a funny comment. I'm not going to read it. That was a funny comment. All right. So why did I downgrade Alphabet? I downgraded Alphabet because I was very bullish on Alphabet when it was tanking. No longer presents the same value as it does. Now, I'm not opposed to paying up for great companies, but I do think that there's a time and a place. So if you look at my profile on Seeking Alpha, be good if I was zooming in on the right freaking tab. Jesus, I'm so lost. So look, I was very bullish the entire time it was going down. Okay. The entire time. Now, since April 24th, when I was fighting all the bears saying that you guys are stupid because search is not being cannibalized, just look at the year over year and the quarter over quarter growth metrics. It's up 102% since then. In the summer, end of July, it's up 66.5%. It doesn't have the same level of appeal where it is now. That does not mean it's not going to do well. I'm now neutral. The reason I'm neutral is because I think it's just going to match the S&P for a little bit. I think it needs to grow into things. Can it run? Absolutely. Is it going to go up? I think so. But is it doubling in the next 6 months? No. I doubt it. It could, but I doubt it. Is it going to double in the next year? I have no freaking clue, but I don't think it's going to. And I also look at it as, if I have to allocate money, where am I going to get the most ROI if I'm allocating it to growth? And I don't think it's Alphabet being over 300 now and approaching a 4 billion market cap. It's one of the best companies ever built, one of the best companies in the market. It's going to do well. But is it the same value? Is it as easy as it was to buy before? No. I like buying things when nobody else wants to buy them. I don't want to buy them when everybody's scrambling. Got to 300 and people are going ooga gaga over the TPUs. Like, TPUs is old news. They've been doing them for a decade. They got 7 generations of chips. Come on. So this is a situation where I'm holding it. If it falls, I'll probably buy more. At these levels, I'm not that interested. I think that Meta presents such a better value opportunity here. I think NVIDIA presents such a better value opportunity here. I even think Amazon, even though it's trading around the same area on a forward multiple, and let me show that. Let me bring up the chart. Let me bring up the table. All right. All right. So my nifty table that I always show, but for those of you that aren't used to it, I add some companies in here. Forgive me. It's not just the Spectacular 6 or Mag 7. But look, Alphabet right now, we'll color code it. Trading at 25.5 times 27 earnings. It was trading at 16 times over the summer. Okay. I would rather be buying, personally, Meta and NVIDIA at 20 and 19 times forward earnings than Alphabet. That's just me. I recently bought Microsoft because I think the value proposition is incredible. I have a thesis on Amazon, which is a little different, even though it's trading around the same area. But I think there's money to be made in Alphabet. I just don't think there's as much money to be made in Alphabet as there is in Meta or NVIDIA. I mean, look, if NVIDIA went to 250, and I'm not saying that they do, okay? Does anybody really think trading at 26 times forward earnings for NVIDIA that is expected to grow their EPS by 103% over the next 2 years is crazy? No, absolutely not. Give me 1 sec, everybody. I just realized I gotta send a text to the dairy dealer. I forgot to freaking text him. Oh my God. He'll see it when he wakes up in the morning. Half and half, whole milk, drinkable yogurt. Yep, we're good. Dairy dealer to the rescue. All right. So where were we? Big tech. That's why I downgraded them, not because of anything operationally. Operationally, they're freaking amazing. And let me show you the actual operation numbers. For those of you who have not seen this spreadsheet yet, you're probably going to think I'm out of my mind. You probably think I'm out of my mind already. So operationally, Alphabet's doing amazing. And I'll read the numbers to everybody. So in search, now search is what everybody, all the bears were saying was getting cannibalized. It's right here. Does that look like it's getting cannibalized? In the past quarter, they did $56.57 billion in revenue. They grew by 14.54% year over year. They added over $7 billion in revenue year over year. If that is what the bears are going to hang their hat on, is search is being cannibalized on a chart that looks like that, I'm sorry, they're stupid. Full stop. Full stop, they're stupid. Google Cloud going parabolic. YouTube ads doing well. Google subscriptions doing well. I mean, operationally, this company is amazing. I just don't see the value that I once did, and that's why I'm neutral. So I really like Meta here. I really like NVIDIA here. I really like Microsoft. And Amazon, I have a little bit of a different theory. So let's bring up Amazon. So the analysts are projecting that in 2029, they will do just over $1 trillion in revenue. Right now, their operating margin is 11.2%. If they can expand their margin to 18%, that would be $180 billion in operating income. Can they get another 7.5% on operating through robotics and AI over the next 4 years? I think it's possible. And if they do, here's the thing. They're at 2.45 trillion market cap. So at a market cap of 2.5 trillion with 180 billion in operating income, they should theoretically go for 7 to 8 trillion in market cap, because NVIDIA hit 5 trillion market cap. Their operating income is under 100 billion. Microsoft is over 4 trillion. Their operating income is, so Microsoft fell. They're at 3.5. They were over 4 trillion at one point, but their operating income passed it. 105 billion. Apple market cap is just over 4 trillion. Their operating income, 133. So if Amazon can get to 180 billion in operating income, I gotta think they're a $7 trillion company, and that's a 2x, that's a 3x from here. So that's a long-term play for me. I really like Amazon there. So look, I think big tech is going to rally. I think they're too cheap. I think it's a disgrace that Walmart and Costco have bigger multiples than them, except Tesla. And I think it's next to impossible to compete with these companies. These companies are doing 100 billion plus of EBITDA, 100 billion plus operating income. They have tens of billions in cash on the balance sheet, not a lot of long-term debt. They're allocating a ridiculous amount of capital to capex. You can't compete with these companies. So why wouldn't we want to invest in them? So I think that 2026 is going to be a story of the big just get bigger, and I think it's going to be a very good year for big tech. That's my thesis on big tech. Matt didn't reply. He must not like you. Well, I can see that he saw the text, so I don't know if he's coming on or not. How come I don't have a code for you guys to sign? I don't know. In all seriousness, I never even thought about it. Tevis, why don't you come on? Maddie, why don't you come on? Yeah, no, I know why Tevis can't come on. You know what, Matt? You said you had milk and cookies. You should come on. Does the milk dealer deliver booze? No, the milk dealer brings milk to the farmer's market, and I text him to make sure that he has my order on the side in case I get there late. I don't want him selling out because I need my milk and I need my half and half. Tommy, which stocks are overpriced? Let's see. Yeah, I agree, Laura. I like all those that you just mentioned. Most spectacular stock in my portfolio has got to be Meta, only because we've had it since the IPO. Yeah, half and half is legit for the coffee. Very legit. I do not know what's overpriced. What is overpriced? Oh, your whole portfolio is overpriced? That's funny. Oh, whoa, Venom. Ronnie Brook Farms is sold around you. I seriously think you should try it. It's very good. So I agree. I like whipped cream for coffee too. I also like getting Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream and putting it in the bottom of the cup and then pouring hot coffee over it. So no, I don't use creamer. Half and half or ice cream, one of the two. I mean, seriously, if you like ice cream and you like coffee, go get Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream, put it at the bottom of the cup, pour your hot coffee on top of it. It'll change your life. Change your life. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Charles, I'm with you. I'll eat Ready Whip right out of the can. I'm with you. Stuff's amazing. How do you exercise? I don't exercise. I used to freaking lift like an animal. And I guess I'm still kind of big from working out my whole life. I don't freaking work out anymore. I actually have a picture of what I used to look like somewhere. I'll try to find it. Give me a sec. Let's see. Yeah, I think some of you don't believe me when I actually said the numbers on what I used to do. Um, all right, I found it. Give me a sec. Give me one sec. I'm cropping the other people out. All right. So this is a long time ago, everybody. Keep that in mind. I'm never looking like this again, ever in my life. So, from a very long time ago, shaved head, used to be yoked. So, that's what it looked like back in the day when I actually worked out. I do not work out anymore. If I still worked out, I'd probably look something like that, just not a shaved head. So, I look like a cop. Definitely not a cop. I can tell you that. We changed cameras. I went back to the other camera and got changed some settings up. So let's see. Let's put it this way. Um, yes, I did look like a bouncer. Steve, any luck getting the shirts done? Not yet. Listen, I like current Steve too. Listen, working out for 2 hours a day, hour and a half a day. I mean, it was fun, but it was a lot of time. No, Mr. P Flat, I'm not getting in the gym. I have no interest in going back to the gym. And my joints just they feel it. Like they freaking feel it. And I'll tell everybody this, for all you young bucks out there, do not do what I did. Do not lift the way I did. Don't do skull crushers. Don't do that stuff. You will have joint problems in your 40s, definitely your 50s. I'm not looking forward to aging. I need to probably lose 20, 25 pounds and probably just freaking go do the elliptical and actually walk outside. Like working out the way that I did, definitely Not good for the joints, I can tell you that much. What is the most old school Italian restaurant in NYC? Huh. There's a couple of them. I mean, look, Carbone's my favorite. Go to Don Pep's in Queens. Don Pep's is sick. Thank you, Chels. I appreciate it very much. Um, you guys are hilarious. I mean, this is the best community. I swear to God, best community. Wow, ride a Peloton while watching a mitt. That's freaking great. Name a better tricep exercise, dude. Just do dips. Skull crushers are so bad for your joints. Trust me. You'll figure it out when you get older how bad those are for your joints. And I get it. I get it. Skull crushers and then going right into freaking close grip, freaking bench into it. I get it. Dips are way better for your triceps and it's way better for your upper body. And I would argue it's less stress on your joints. You're not hyperextending anything. Skull crushers are not natural freaking movement. Yeah, I know I need to get to 10. I gotta start walking or doing something. I have a freaking Apple Watch and I never wear it. I'm so horrible. I have no idea what Ulysses on State Street is. You will not be upset at Carbone's if you try to get a reservation. It's almost impossible to get in same day. But there's a lot of good Italian restaurants like Scarpetta. It's phenomenal. I didn't say just dips, but I said dips are better than skull crushers. And I stand by that. Dips are freaking amazing. Walking is underrated, Charles. I'm with you. I just don't do it enough. I should freaking walk and listen to Compound and Friends or All In stuff and just make it a point to go for a 45-minute or an hour walk a day. I really should. Oh, listen, I'll tell you right now, deadlifting is not a good exercise. You can criticize me all you want. Nobody needs to deadlift unless you're playing in the freaking NFL. You don't need to. And if you're going to deadlift, don't deadlift heavy. There's zero reason to. Zero. It's not worth it. It's just not. And for squats, I tell you, barbell squats are not worth it either. Do goblet squats with a freaking kettlebell, do single leg lunges, and hack squat machine. Too many people injure themselves on freaking squats with a bar. Seriously. I got nothing against overhead press. Some people think it's bad for you. I mean, personally, I can't say that I have anything against overhead press. Thank you, Slam Dunker, for getting your girlfriend watching on a fine Saturday night. Yeah, I live in New York City, but I don't consider when I need to walk to go get something walking. And no, I drive through the city. I don't freaking take a subway and walk. So that's the other thing. Once I started driving instead of taking the freaking subway, my steps went down a lot. Thank you for joining, Christopher. Truly appreciate it. Yes, dips and pull ups, not dips or pull ups. Dips and pull ups. Calisthenics are very important. Yeah, sugar's definitely not good for us. I just love sugar. Oh my God. I need to go to Dallas to hang out with everybody. One of these days I'll get down there. Dallas and freaking Houston. I mean, we can agree to disagree on deadlifts. I mean, they're not freaking good for you. Yes, slouching hurts your back. Chels, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, people don't realize that, like, even if you're young, you can hurt yourself with that stuff. But as you get older, you can really hurt yourself bad with squats and freaking deadlifts. Like, it's just not worth it. It is not freaking worth it. Yeah, look at this. In all seriousness, I used to deadlift 500 pounds at 158. Only cost me 3 discs. Like, I guarantee you, traveling session wishes that he wasn't doing that because he's only going to have more problems in the future. Like, and I'm with you. I got herniated discs. It's not worth it. Look, I love bench. I love bench. Um, Never hear me say anything bad about bench ever. Walking to food doesn't count as exercise. You're right. It doesn't. Nah. Trust me, I'm not lifting ever again. I have no interest in it. Zero. And here's the reason why. Every time I start lifting heavy again. After like a week, I'm like, ah, fuck this. I'm gonna start lifting like normal again. It never ends well. Not that I hurt myself or anything. It's just it's not worth it. And now that I have different things in the joints and stuff, I really have no interest. Alcohol is sugar. I don't drink really. I stopped drinking. I can't handle a hangover anymore. Nobody lets me pour drinks for them, by the way, because when I pour a glass of wine, I don't believe in that whole like this is the glass, putting it to there. I fill it up to like there. I'm not allowed to pour alcohol for anybody out again. Oh, I actually had a like a starting of a beard, but I shaved it off. Yeah, Chels, I'm with you. I love carbs. They're so bad for you, but I love them. And vodka. Oh, all right. Try this, Chels. Transfusion. Welch's grape juice, Kettle One, because that's just my preference in vodka, Sprite, and a lime. You'll thank me later. Yeah, I'm with you. Sweet potatoes is great. Can I tie my shoes? Yes, I can tie my shoes. I mean, look, I'm not a personal trainer. I was never a personal trainer. I did freaking get pretty jacked, and I will tell you, calisthenics were the cornerstone of it. A ton of pull ups and a ton of dips. I've been doing pull ups my whole life. I mean, started doing pull ups when I was like, I don't know, third or fourth grade. I mean, I always say I'm going to start doing freaking yoga, but I just never do. Listen, veal parm is so good. Oh my god, veal parm. Yeah, let me know, Charles. I mean, that drink is freaking legit. Yeah, this pasta makes me want to eat. This channel makes me want to eat pasta also. I mean, maybe I'll make a pot of sauce tomorrow. Guess I have the time for that. I need a good 6 hours though. Like I can't half-ass it. Need a good 6 hours. Guess I could do it. I am in Simon Property Group. I like Simon Property Group. How much did I weigh when I was lifting? 210, that area. Like when I was really lifting, I tried going into cutting mode and I got down to 181 and it wasn't sustainable for me at all. I felt horrible. Like 200 to 210, I felt great. 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 I mean, I get it. A lot of people like chicken parm over veal parm. And most places I will order chicken parm over veal parm. But if I am at an awesome place, veal parm is what I'm going with. Duck fried rice. I have not. I may have to try that. Favorite exercise was bench. There's no question about that. Oh, thank you so much. We, the Margin Calls, appreciate that. That this is the best new finance channel. It's not just finance. Look, it's a lot finance and economics, but I do like reading through the chat and hanging out with everybody and just talking to everybody. Because look, we're trying to build a great community here, and I do think that we have between the Mitt, me, and the rest of the guys, we have the best community. Period on YouTube. Yeah, Saturday nights always end up with food. I mean, food is awesome. Yeah, chicken parm is goat status. I'm with you. Whoa. Look at this guy in the chat. Tanner, you can come on if you want. Up to you. We're just hanging out. And I agree with you. Cedar row is awesome. It's not as good as lap pull down, but it's great. Maybe I'll make. I know I said maybe I'll make sauce tomorrow, but now I'm thinking I want to get lamb chops. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. Yes, I will thank her for everybody that she's willing to let me spend this much time on YouTube. This guy's listening from the sauna. We should have all known that he was listening from the sauna because he's got his routine, because he's got to get the perfect sleep score. I mean, Tanner, I'm not sure if he's not a robot. Like, he's got such a routine, it's crazy. Crazy. It's like it's programmed into him. Chels, thank you so much. Truly appreciate that. And I agree, this community is amazing. It is amazing. And I'm trying to figure something out for February. I think it's February 1st for Amit's New York meetup. I'm trying to figure something out. I'm going to talk to him. We're going to figure out how many people are going to be there, but I'm trying to figure something out. So we'll see. We'll see what I can get done. What do you mean, Tanner? It's not that crazy. You're like a robot. Oh, Tanner, by the way, somebody said that you probably don't know any Canadian stocks. And I said he definitely knows Shopify and Enbridge because I pounded that into his head. But after that, I don't know if you know any Canadian stocks. Maybe Bank of Nova Scotia. Yeah, listen, FS, I'm 100% going to be at the meetup. I will not miss the meetup. So I told Amit wanted to do it January 25th originally, and I told him don't do it then because it's the freaking AFC and NFC championships. Do it the following week because the Super Bowl is on the 8th or whenever the Super Bowl is. It's a bye week. So I have no idea what DCBO is, but I'll take your word for it, Tanner. Bank of Nova Scotia, baby. I'm a shareholder. Charles, it is on a Sunday. So I don't know why Amit wants to do it on a Sunday. I'll ask him if he wants to do it on a Saturday instead. Because I do agree, Sunday is difficult because next day everybody's got work. Let me talk to him and see if we can do it on Saturday. I think that's a good idea. And I do know that there's been talks about potential for AC. So we'll see about that. That may be a summer thing. And if we do an AC meetup, I think that would be really cool because I'll be the craps table. Yes, I have not moved the door yet. Yeah, Charles, if you ask him in, I ask him in, maybe we can get something done. Yeah, I think a lot of people would go to Jersey. I know that we have a big East Coast crowd in the community, so Meta. Listen, if Meta goes to 1,500, we partying. Meta at 1,500, I'd be so happy. But let's just hope Zuckerberg freaking does a split soon. If he does a split, I think they would be very bullish. Get more people involved, You'll have increased volumes. I think it'd be really good. I know Landman season 2 started. I have not started yet. Season 1 was incredible. I watched Force last night. It was awesome. I know Amit's doing all these overseas meetups. I'm sorry, I'm not going to Singapore. Not happening. I need to get some new shows to watch. Riftbound. This will be bigger than One Piece and Pokemon in 10 years. I mean, I've never even heard of that, and I've heard of almost everything. Hold on. Riftbound. Oh, okay. You couldn't have just said League of Legends to me? Come on. All right. I'm not going to hate on this. League of Legends. You say League of Legends. I can see a huge. Jesus Christ, these prices. What is this? Is this the first set of this? All right, you officially got me. You officially got me interested. I'm gonna have to do some inquiries, and I'm gonna have to buy this. Origin. So I guess with a name like Origins, the debut set. All right, I'm buying it. So for everybody out there that is interested in alternative assets, I am buying the first booster box of Riftbound. It is the League of Legends trading card game. League of Legends, I believe, is the biggest video game ever. And why didn't somebody tell me this was freaking coming out? Like, what is going on here? This could be huge. This could be huge. All right. I'm interested. I'm buying it. We're going to start a new series we're going to start investing in. We're going to get in from the beginning and have every freaking set. I like it. Yeah, One Piece is getting huge. Absolutely huge. Next says, all right, cool. Thank you. I used to play League of Legends a lot. Maybe that's something I'll try playing again. I mean, that game is so freaking good, but I gotta tell you, people are so ridiculous at that game. It's insane. I used to think people were freaking cheating in that game because I used to be somewhat good. And I tried logging in like a couple months ago, got smoked. Absolutely smoked. Um, so I used to play What were the characters? I can't even remember all the names. The guy with the spear that you're supposed to play jungle with, but I would just go up the center and wreck people. Misfortune was good when she got more powerful. There was a tank I used to play, but I don't remember the name. I'm actually on eBay right now looking for Riftbound sets. Make some offers. We're gonna get a couple. We're gonna get a couple. Yes, yes. Zinzaga, or however you pronounce that. Yes. What rank were you? I don't remember. Whatever the end freaking rank was, didn't it only go up to a certain number? Master Yi, I tried playing. I wasn't good at Master Yi. I feel like a lot of people tried playing with Ash to start with. I never really did. Yeah, I play Garen a little bit. His freaking spin move. Man, I'm surprised the amount of people that play League of Legends in here. Jeez. It's pretty awesome. I keep telling you, we have a great community. This community could talk about food, investing, gambling, video games. What a great diverse crew we got. This is great. All the important things in life. I'm with you. I am freaking with you. TFT. Interesting. Sherman-Williams is a publicly traded stock also. I got to start looking at some new stuff for 2026. I'm actually thinking about doing a public portfolio. Not sure if I really want to. It's a lukewarm idea that I may do. We'll see. But I'm considering it. Considering doing a public portfolio. Oh, wow. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. So, short term bear thesis for the market is Jay Powell comes out on Tuesday and Wednesday and slaps us around and says inflation is not going away. And we need to make sure that this is curtailed, and decreasing rates will only make inflation go up. Therefore, we're going to keep rates the same. And he's going to talk hawkish, hawkish, hawkish. And we're going to go down to 62.50 because the market has already priced in a rate cut, especially since the labor market is starting to look like it's going to crack a little bit. And he's going to talk about his famous words about data and, you know, we don't have enough data because of the shutdown and all this other bullshit. So that's what I think is the short-term bear thesis. Because if we look at corporate earnings, I mean, corporate earnings, they were good. These companies are growing. Corporate earnings are doing well. So, you know. Data dependent. Data dependent. Now, I don't want to hear him say data. If he says data dependent, you wait for President Trump to go on a freaking tirade on freaking Truth Social. So, can we talk about movies for a little bit? Does everybody mind talking about movies to end this out? Um, I've always been into the market. I mean, more so now, or more so over the past 5 years than before, I'd say. Nah, that's not even true. Probably 2015, I really got back into it. Took a little hiatus. I was into it a lot. Um, I'd say late 90s, early 2000s, and then as I got older, I just got involved in a lot of other things, and then got back into it when started having a little bit more time. Yeah, let's talk about movies for a little bit. I just watched The Gentleman again. Has anybody seen The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey and Charlie Hunnam, the Guy Ritchie movie? Lord of the Rings is a phenomenal franchise. That question. Tombstone is one of my favorite movies. I think everybody knows that. I love that movie. So, The Gentleman's a freaking great movie. Colin Farrell's in it. What's the guy from Succession? What's Kendall's name from Succession? He's in Big Short. He's in it. There's so many freaking people in it. The Gentleman's a great movie, and they made a TV series on Netflix about it. It's so good. Ray, I have no idea what that is. I guess I'm gonna have to take a look at it. Yeah, there we go. Somebody saying Gentleman was a great movie. It was really good. I think if we duct taped Amit to a chair, he would gnaw his way out of the duct tape just to not sit through Lord of the Rings. I don't think it's possible for him to sit through Lord of the Rings. They're too long. They're too long. Unforgiven's a great movie, but Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell in Tombstone is unbelievable. He watched Heat. He didn't like it. So I need a good movie to watch. I want to try to watch a shorter movie tonight. No, I watch all types of movies, except for High School Musical and those types of movies. I watch real movies. Yeah, Amit would not. He will not be able to sit through any of these movies. There's no way. The best Batman's Christian Bale, my opinion. Ooh, Total Recall. That's a good old one. I don't know if I'm making it through a full movie tonight, but I am gonna freaking try to watch something. What's Caroline? I have no idea what that is, Charles. Seven was a good movie. I did not see Del Toro's Frankenstein. That and F1 are on my list. I want to watch something that I've already seen so I can like freaking half pay attention and half nod off. I can't start like a new movie that I've never seen tonight. Days of Thunder is so fucking good. Oh my god. I love Days of Thunder. 21 Grams is a good movie. I mean, Rounders cult classic. Love Rounders. Wall Street's great. Top Gun's great. The fact that Carlito's Way is a freaking great movie. You know, Lucky Number 11 gets a bad rap. I think that was a good one. I think that was a good one. Oh, Major League with Charlie Sheen was so good. Wow. Leaving Las Vegas was crazy. Freaking what am I thinking of? What movie with Johnny Depp am I thinking of about Vegas? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Man, that was a trippy movie. That was wild. Yeah, Fear and Loathing Rambler. That is such a crazy movie. Below is a really good movie. Johnny Depp is a great actor. I mean, he was so good in Pirates of the Caribbean. I will say this guilty pleasure movie is definitely National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. Such a guilty pleasure movie. Man, I haven't seen Edward Scissorhands in God knows how long. One Flew Over, yeah, that's an old one. Few Good Men's good. What are your favorite movies? Snatch is really good. Departed's awesome. Yeah, Lucky Number 11's underrated. Gladiator. All right, so I'm going to say this. Denzel Washington, top five actors of all time. Just saying it. Denzel is a top 5 actor. And American Gangster is a masterpiece film. Flawless masterpiece. Snatch is a gangster movie. It's not a mob movie. The Rock is a good one. Mulholland. Wow. Haven't seen that in a while. The Milkman. That would be a great movie. Step Brothers was hilarious. I actually watched part of Talladega Nights the other day. Office Space is classic. Two Bobs. Clear and Present Danger is legit. Big Jack Ryan fan. Sandlot, you're killing me, Smalls. All right, everyone. I'm going to cut it in 5 minutes. So if there's any questions you want to ask, just ask them. 5 or 10 minutes, but we'll go to 12:15, 8 minutes. So Billionaires Boys Club's entertaining. So 12:15, I'm going to end it. So ask me whatever you want. Tomorrow, let's say 3 or 4 o'clock, Sunday afternoon, coffee and stocks. I'll come up with some topics, and maybe we'll do a little Ethereum, BMNR, that type of stuff. We'll see. But yeah, 3 or 4 p.m., cup of coffee, and we'll talk about stocks for like 45 minutes or an hour. Good night, Charles. I like cappuccino better than espresso. That's just me. Right now, I'm believing in the Santa Claus rally, but if the Fed don't cut, we ain't getting one. My opinion. I do not make my own coffee. Point Break is a classic. Utah, give me 2. Yes, I can cook. Johnny Utah. I did not play Metal Gear Solid. Home Alone 1. Home Alone 1. I do have an iPad. Yes. Yes, cappuccino has espresso in it, but a cappuccino is different than espresso. No, I need to watch F1. Ooh, best athlete in history. It is not Ruth. It is not Jordan. It is not Messi. It is not Brady. You said athlete, not the goat of a sport. The best athlete in history, Bo Jackson. Hands down, full stop. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is the biggest freak of nature we've ever seen. A lot of people would say Herschel Walker, but I mean, what Bo did in two sports, he's the greatest freaking athlete. And then Dion. Too legit to quit Falcons. That's hilarious. I did get basketball cards. I didn't open them though. I opened one of the things I bought from Target, but I'm not opening the jumbo boxes because I think they're going to go up in value. All right, everyone. I am going to shut it down. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. We have the best community out there. I will be around tomorrow around 3 or 4 p.m. I will see if anybody can join me. Maybe I can get Tevis or Maddie to join me. We'll see. Coffee and stocks tomorrow at 3 or 4 p.m. We will figure it out, come up with some new topics. Thank you for being here. Truly appreciate it. Drink some milk, get some sleep, or if it's early enough, go out and have some fun. Happy investing. Oh, look at this. Sam Solid. Look at this guy hopping in at the last minute. Hope all is well, Sam. We got to talk soon. All right, everyone. I'm signing out. Tomorrow afternoon, coffee and stocks, either 3 or 4 o'clock. I'll make the link in the morning when I figure out my schedule is. Have a great night, everyone.